Hello students, good morning. Welcome back to your 33rd lecture of English Grammar of Essay 2. As we know that we had started our lesson number 3 in our previous lecture, and the name of the lesson is negative sentences. Let's see what will be learned here in this lecture today. First of all, we revise the previous knowledge. Then we learn about the negative sentences with different kind of words. In our last lecture we had learnt the negative sentence with verb to be. Today we are going to learn negative sentences with verb to have, with verb will and shall, with verb to do, with other verbs. Other verbs means can, must, should, and then we'll see the contraction form of the verbs with not, and then we will do the exercise according to the rules we are going to learn today. So let's start. As we know that what is the negative sentences, what are the negative sentences, have you remembered? As we learned then, in English language, in order to claim that something is not true, it means that something is false, wrong, at that time, if we want to claim our oppose, we use no or not. A negative sentence have a negative sense. It reflects the negative sense of the sentence. A negative sentence having words like no, not, to make it in a negative form. So we understand that negative sentence identify with no and not, right? Let's see the definition and revise the definition. Negative sentences are the sentences which have negative sense, means it has no or not. Or the another definition, or we can say that the negative sentences are the totally opposite sentences of the positive sentences. It expresses the opposite meaning of the positive sentences. Means positive sentences represent the positive form of the sentence. It reflects the simple meaning of the sentence, and if we want to make this positive sentence in a negative form, then we use no or not, and after using no or not, we make this sentence in a negative form, but it reflects the negative sense of the sentence, means it is totally opposite of the positive sentence. So this is the definition. As we learned that negative sentences are used to show the negative sense of the sentence. This type of sentences use only one negation words are there. It means that there are no, not, so many negation words are there, but we use only any one negation word to make it in a negative form. And the negation words are no, not, never, nobody, nothing, etc. are the negation words. So we can make negative sentences by using these negation words. Let's see the negative sentences formation. As we learned that in a simple statement, simple sentences, what is the formation of the sentence? Have you remember? We need subject, verb and object to make a simple sentence, right? In negative sentence, we add some more part of speech to make it in a negative form. So let's see and revise it. Subject, then helping verb, then no or not, then main verb, and then object. So these 5 parts we need to make a sentence in a negative form. So let's see the example with this pattern. She is a subject, and a subject is a doer part, action part of the sentence. So she is a subject. As we know that is a helping verb. With is, we already learnt that not is there. Main verb is writing and filling the blanks. She is not writing, filling the blanks is the sentence. So this is the way we make a negative sentence. This is the formation of the negative sentences. Let's see. Now we are able to identify what are the positive sentences and what are the negative sentences. We just identify them with particular words or particular part of the speech. So let's see the difference as we learnt it in our last lecture. So as we learnt in our previous lecture, that we identify easily the positive sentences and the negative sentences. Let's revise this difference which we had learnt in our previous lecture. What are the difference? Positive sentences and negative sentences. Positive sentences are positive by the nature, and it shows the positive sense. It means that it is the very simple sentences. It shows us the positive reflect the positive sense of the sentence, right? And in negative sentences, this type of sentences are negative by the nature. It shows the negative sense. It means that it shows the negative shade of the sentence. If something is going there and we want to oppose it, then it is totally, we use some words to oppose the particular claim, right? So at that time we use no or not. So it is by using no or not we make a negative sentence, and it shows the negative shade of the sentence. This type of sentence means positive type of sentences formed by subject, verb and object. So now we understand that for making a positive sentence we need subject, verb and object, main three parts, right? But here to make a negative sentence we need subject, helping verb, no or not, main verb and object. These 5 types of the speech to make a complete negative sentence. Let's see the example of the positive sentence. Raja is looking happy. Here just read the sentence. It reflects the positive shade of the sentence. In this sentence nothing is negative, right? So it is called the positive sentence. And let's see the example of negative sentence. What is the negative sentence? Raja is not looking happy. Here just observe that 2 sentences in positive way he is happy. But if we claim that he is not happy, we use not to make it oppose, right? So we write here Raja is not looking happy. This is the way we identify the positive sentences and the negative sentences. We can see the difference between them, right? And we easily identify which one is the positive and which one is the negative sentence. We make negative sentences by different ways, by using no or not with particular kind of the verbs. And which are the verbs? Verbs to be, verbs to have, verbs to do, verb will shall, with phrases, or we can say that imperative sentences. What are the verbs to be? What are the verbs to have? What are the verbs to do? What are the verbs will shall? We already learnt in our lesson number 13. We just revise when we go through it, right? So let's move on. First is negative sentences with verb to be. This type of negative sentences we already learnt in our previous lecture. Let's see what are the negative what are the verbs to be. Is, am, are, was and where are called the verbs to be. So when we use the verbs to be, it means is, am, are, was, where. The verbs, we make the sentence in negative form. We just add not to with it. It means that whenever the verbs to be is in the sentence and we want to make a sentence in negative form, after this verbs to be, we add only not to make it in a negative form. Let's see the example. He is tired is the simple sentence. It is the positive sentence. But if we want to make it in a negative form, then we use not with is. So what will be the answer? He is not tired. Next is I am going out now. Then what will be the answer? I am not going out now. Right? Next is they are looking happy. And we add not with are. So what will be the answer? They are not looking happy. So this is the formation of verbs to be, negative sentences, verb with verb to be, right? Now let's move on. Our today's topic, negative sentences with verb to have. What are the verb to have? Has, have and had are called the verbs to have. What we do? When we use the verb have, it means has, have and had, we use no after the verb have to make the sentence negative. Alternately, we use do, does, did plus not plus have to make a sentence in a negative form. So we can say that here with has and have we use no or not both in some cases, right? With had also we use no or not. But whenever this type of sentences, whenever the has and have use as a main verb, we use no with them, and whenever they are the helping verb in the sentence, we use not with them. So let's see the example and get clarity. First is I have toys. So I have toys represent have as a main verb. So we use to here I have no toys, or if we want to write with not this sentence, it will be I do not have toys, right? So with have, if we want to use do, does or did, do or does, then this type of, if with the subject we want to use do, does or did, we use not after did, do, does and did and then write have. It reflects the negative sentence, right? They have toys. Now what will we do? They, if we want to use do with they, then what can we do? They do not have toys will be the answer. Understand? So this is the two ways. These are the two ways we write no or not with has, have or had. This no and not rule apply with has, have and had also. Understand? So let's move on. The next verb is negative sentences with shall and will. As we know that shall and will represent the future verb. It is called the future helping verb, right? So what can we do? We use not after shall or will to make a sentence in a negative form. So let's see the example. They will not come tomorrow. Here what will be the main verb? They will not come tomorrow. Here I had a mistake that what will be the positive sentence? They will come tomorrow, and the answer will be they will not come tomorrow. Again, I will, shall, because with I we use will or shall, both, right? Either we use will or we use shall not participate next year. So this is the way we use the will shall, the not, make a negative sentence with will and shall. So let's move on. When the, now the question is that when the sentence in a simple present tense, then what can we do? And as we learnt about the simple present tense, as we know that it has no helping verb, right? So at that time what can we do? Let's see. When the sentence in a simple present tense, it has no helping verb at that time, right? We use do or does as per the form of the noun or pronoun of the sentence while asking the question. In a same manner, we use do not or does not to make a sentence in a negative form. It means that in a simple, as we know that in a simple present tense, we do not have any helping verb. So while asking the question, when we make a positive sentence, change the positive sentence into interrogative, it means into question, then what will we do? We can take a help from do and does. So that's why do, verbs to do are called the simple present tense form of the verb. So at that time, for the simple present tense, we use do and does to make a question. So in a same manner, if we want to make the sentence in negative form, we also use do and does, but with not. That's why after do we use not, after does we use not to make it in a negative form. As we know that when we use do and when we use does with a singular form of the noun and pronoun, we use does, and with the plural form of the noun we use do. When the sentence has, now we'll learn about the singular. If in a sentence there is a singular noun or pronoun present, then what can we do and how can we make a negative sentence? Let's see. When the sentence has a singular form of noun, we use does not to make this type of sentences change into negative sentences. So let's see the formation of the singular noun in a simple present tense. Subject, as we know that the subject means doer part. Doer part means maybe noun or maybe pronoun. But here he, she, it are called the singular form of the pronoun, right? Then verb with ses. It is the simple present tense. Sentence formation of the simple present tense is subject, verb with ses and object. It is the positive sentence, formation of the positive sentence. Now, what will we do to make it in a negative sentence? Let's see. Subject means he, she, it or any singular form of the noun. Then does not. We use does not with the singular form of the noun or pronoun. And then just remember this rule that while we use does not in the sentence, we have to write the verb with the root form. Means in a positive sentence of simple present tense, we add ses with the verb, and while writing in a negative sentences, we remove ses from the verb and write the main form of the verb with does not. Understand? So subject, does not, verb with root form, and then object. This is the formation of the negative sentences for a singular noun in a simple present tense. So let's see the example and get more clarity of this rule. He brings milk every day. Here he is a subject, brings represent the verb with ses, milk every day is the object of the sentence, right? So what will we do if we want to make this sentence in a negative form? We write he, as we know that with he we use does not. So he does not. Then what is the root form of brings? We remove s from the bring and write the main form of the verb is bring. He does not bring milk every day will be the answer. Understand? How can you make this type of sentence in a negative form? Let's see another. She draws a beautiful picture. Now you understand how can we make this kind of sentences in a negative form. So what can we do? Yes. So you understand that how can we make this sentence in a negative form. So as we know that she is a subject part, then we write does not with she and write the root form of draws. What is the root form? So we remove s. If we add s or es to the verb, we remove it and we write the main verb, right? So here we write draw, the main verb, a beautiful picture. So this is the way we make a singular form of noun in a negative sentences. Let's move on and see when the noun in a plural form, then what can we do? When the sentences has a plural form of noun, we use do not to make this type of sentence into negative sentences. Let's see the formation of this sentence. Main positive. What is the formation of positive sentences when the noun in plural form in simple present tense? Let's see. Subject. What are the subject? I, we, you, they. It means they are the plural form of pronouns. Then verb with root form. Then object. So this is the pattern of the positive sentence while the noun in a plural form. So let's see now if we want to make this type of sentence in a negative form, which pattern will we use to make this type of sentence in a negative? Let's see. Subject means I, we, you, they, we know that, or many, plural form of noun. We, students, people are called the plural form of the nouns, right? Then what can we do? We use do not, right, to make it in a negative form. Then verb with root form means that here we do not change. Whatever the verb in positive form, we'll write in a negative form, sentence also without any changes. So it will be easy for you. And then the object part of the sentence. Now let's see the example of this rule and get better understanding. First is I play cricket every day. As we know that I is a doer part of the action, play is the verb, cricket every day is the object part. This is the positive sentence. Now what can we do to make it in a negative sentence? We use do not with I. So I do not play. We write play as it is because it is already in its root form. So we write here I do not play cricket every day. So this type of sentence will be easy for you to make it in a negative sentence. Just use do not and make it in a negative sentence. Next is they share their lunch. Here what can we do? Now you understand that what can we do to make this sentence in a negative sentence. Then do it by self. They, as we know that they is a subject part, share is a verb and their lunch is the object part of the sentence. This is the positive sentence and now what can we do? I hope you have done this sentence in a negative form by self. just check it. If you have done, just check it out. Otherwise, just observe here what can I do to make it in a negative form. They do not share their lunch. Understand? We use do not with they, then we write same as it is main verb as in a positive sentence. Whatever the verb in the positive form, whatever form of the verb in the positive sentence, we copy it and then we'll write the object part of the sentence. Then the next is you come with your parents. Here you come with your parents. You represent the subject part, come is the verb, and with your parents is the object part of the sentence. Now what can we do? You, as we know that you is the plural form of pronoun, then we use do not with you. You do not come with your parents will be the answer. Understand? So now you understand that in which cases we use does not and in which cases we use do not. So let's move on. Now we are moving on the next simple past tense. How to make this negative sentences into simple past tense. Right? So let's see. When the sentence in simple past tense, it has no helping verb at that time in the sentence. We already learned about the simple present tense. We already learned about the simple past tense in our previous lessons. And as we learned that, we know that in a simple present tense and simple past tense, there is no helping verb in the sentence. Then what can we do? We use did as per the form of the sentence while asking the question. All the form of the noun means singular form of noun and plural form of noun. Singular form of pronoun and plural form of pronoun, we use did with them, not any other word, right? While the sentence in a simple past tense. Understand? So while we use did to make a question, as a similar way, as a same manner, we use did not to make simple past tense sentence of the simple past tense in a negative form. So we understand that the sentence has all form of noun and pronouns. We use did not. What we use when the sentence in a simple past form? Did in a positive sentence while asking question, and if we want to the simple past tense in a negative form, we use did not. So let's move on. Let's see the sentence formation rule of the simple past tense. It is subject. Means what is the subject? All form of noun and pronoun are there in a subject, right? Then past form of the verb. As we know that we learnt so many past form of the verb in our lesson of the past tense, simple past tense. If you remember, if there is a go, then we'll write went. What is the past tense of go? Went. So we'll write here went as the past form of the verb. So we write the verb in a past form and then object part of the sentence. When the sentence in simple past tense, we need these three parts of speech: subject, verb with past form and object. All form of noun and pronoun are counted. We use did with them. If we want to ask the question with this type of question, then what will we do? We use did. So what about the negative sentence formation of simple past tense sentence? Let's see. subject, all form of noun and pronoun. Then we use did not, and then we use past form of the verb. No, we use root form of the verb because did also already represent the action with done in past. So we write here root form of the verb and then we'll write object. Understand? So let's see the example of this rule and get better understanding. First is they went to the zoo yesterday. Here went, we know that went is a past form of go. So went is a verb, they is a subject part, to the zoo yesterday is the object part of the sentence. Now if we want to make this sentence in a negative form, then what can we do? We write they same as it is, then we write yes, did not, because this sentence is a simple past tense. That's why we write here did not. So we write they did not. Then we do not whenever write went with did not. We write what is the main verb of went? It is go. So we write here they did not go to the zoo yesterday. Understand? So let's see the another example. He joined our team last year. Again, joined is in the past form. Then we understand it is the simple past tense sentence. Then what can we do? Again, same method can be repeated. Then what will we do? We write he, then did not, then we write joined or join. Yes, we write the root form. So what is the root form of joined? Yes, it is join. So we write here he did not join our team last year. Understand? Next is I won the last competition. Here won is the verb and we know that won is the past form of the verb. So what is the root form of the verb won? Yes, win. So here we write I did not win the last competition. For this negative formation, you have to remember the past form as you learnt it in your previous lesson. Yes, I have given so many verbs to practice with the past form. Have you remember? You just revise them. After learning them, you can easily make simple past tense sentence into negative form. Okay? So now we are moving on the next verb and they are the do not with phrases or imperative sentences. As we know that, as I told you that phrases are called the short sentences, small sentences, right? So at that time, sometimes you are going somewhere and if you want to take a permission to go inside of that particular area, then what can you ask? If for example you are in a school and you want to enter in the class, then what will you ask to your teacher? Yes, may I come in ma'am, right? So at that time some words are there using by teacher and by students, some short sentences. Which are they? Stand up, sit down, may I come in are the short sentences. So at that time we use do not with them to make these sentences in a negative form. Let's see the examples. Open the door. Then what can we do? We just use do not in the beginning of the sentence and write whole the sentence as it is after do not. So what will be the answer? Do not open the door. Understand? Next, go there. So what will we do? Now you understand what will we do in this type of phrases, how to make it in a negative form. What will we do? Yes, we use do not and then write go there. Do not go there. Understand? Next is write fast. Then yes, do not write fast. Understand? So this is the way if there are phrases, and how can we make phrases in a negative form. Let's move on. Some verbs are the extra verbs: can, could, would, should, must. To make when this type of verbs in the sentence and we want to make a sentence in a negative form, what can we do? As simple as that, we use only not with them. Means with, if there is can in the sentence, we use not with them, not with can. Then cannot, could not, would not, should not, must not, to make it in a negative form. So let's see the rule of examples of this rule. We should go there. Here should represent the verb in the sentence, helping verb in the sentence. Then what can we do? We write we should not go there will be the answer. Understand? Next is I can do it. Then we use not after can. Then I cannot do it. I can't do it. We can say that, right? So this is the way we use can, could, would, should, must. If they are in the sentence and we want to make this type of sentence in a negative form, we use not after them, right? Let's move on. Now we learnt about how many ways, different ways we make a negative sentences, right? Now, have you remembered the lesson of contraction we already learnt in our essay 1? Yes, contraction is the short form of the verb. It is the short form of the verb. So let's see how can we use the short form of the verb with not. Let's see. If there is not in the sentence, if you want to write is not in a short form, in a contraction form, what can you write? Isn't, are not, aren't, am not, amn't, armed. What can you say? Armed, not am not. Was not, wasn't, were not, weren't, has not, hasn't, had not, hadn't, have not, haven't, do not, don't, does not, doesn't, did not, didn't, will not, won't. Just remember that when you write the helping verb and not in complete way, the pronunciation will be not changed. But when you write in a contraction form, the pronunciation will be changed. Is not changed. But if you write is not in a contraction form, that it will be changed in a isn't, are not, aren't, was not, wasn't, has not, hasn't, have not, haven't, do not, don't. Understand? The pronunciation will be changed while you use this verb in a contraction form. Did not, didn't, does not, doesn't, will not, won't. Let's see the other verbs with not. Shall not will be. Have you remember what can we do when we use shall not in a contraction form? Yes, shan't, cannot, can't, must not, mustn't, would not, wouldn't, does not have. If you use do not or does not with have, then what can we do? Yes, what will be the contraction of this word? Doesn't have. Understand? Do not have, don't have. This type of words you use very frequently in your daily life, but you don't know what is the actual word. So that's why I have given some contraction to revise it. Should not, shouldn't, could not, couldn't. So this is the contraction form of the verb. You can use it while writing the answer in a negative form. Now let's do the exercise. And the heading of the exercise is change the following sentences into negative sentences. It means that we have to change the given sentences in a negative form. So let's do. First is I have a pen. So here we can write the answer in two ways. One is we use no with have and write an answer first, and the second way of the answer is we use do not with have and write the answer. Let's see what will be the answer. I have no pen is the first answer or first type of the answer, and maybe you can write I don't have a pen. Understand? So both ways are the correct. You can apply it, but follow all the rules. If you write here don't but do not use have at that time, your answer will be wrong. Understand? So next is she must take a medicine. As we learned that some extra verbs are there in the sentence, and if we want to make a negative, what can we do? Yes, we use not with them. So we use not with must. So what will be the answer? She mustn't. Here I have written the contraction form of the verb with not. Take a medicine. Understand? So you can write the contraction form of the verb with not, but write it in a correct way. Okay? They are quarreling. Quarreling means fighting. Then what will we do? What will be the answer? Yes, they aren't quarreling. I have written all the answers in contraction form. You can also write it, but just follow all the rules of that and write the whole spelling in a correct way. Otherwise your answer will be wrong, because it is the main part of the sentence when you use this verb in a negative form, and it is the main part of the sentence. If it is wrong, then I will not give you any mark to you. Okay? Let's move on to the next sentence. Go upstairs. It is a one kind of phrase. Then what can we do? If there is a phrase in the sentence, what will we do? Yes, we will write do not and then repeat the question. So what will be the answer? Do not go upstairs. I have written here don't go upstairs. Okay. If you have written the answer in contraction form, it is okay. But if you want to read it in a contraction form, then you use don't go upstairs. But I want to make both the word separately. Read both the words separately, then I can read it while writing in a no problem if the writing in a contraction form. Here I have written don't go upstairs, right? It is the contraction form of the do not. If I want to read as the do not go upstairs, it will be also correct form of reading. Understand? Sudha likes her new frock. Now this sentence does not have any helping verb. So now we understand that if the verb has s and es, then the sentence is in a simple present tense. And if the sentence in a simple present tense, we just observe the noun. Here Sudha is a noun and Sudha is a singular form of the noun. Then what can we do? Yes, we use does not. So what will be the answer? Sudha, then does not, and yes, we remove ses from the verb, write root form of the verb and write whole the sentence same as it is. So what will be the answer? Sudha does not means doesn't like her new frock. Understand? Next is he will be there. Here will is a helping verb. So what will be the answer? He will not be there. He won't be there. If you read the contraction form of the verb in a contraction form, then your pronunciation will be changed. And if you no problem if the word has written in a contraction form, but if you want to read it separately, then you can do it. It is correct form of reading. He won't be there. We can read it in this way, and we also read it. We will not be there. He will not be there. Right? So this is the way we understand how in a very different ways we use the negative sentences, how to make a different sentences with the different kind of verbs. I hope you have understand whole the topic, the negative sentences. In our next lecture, we will meet in a Zoom lecture because we will have an activity of English grammar. The link and the message, whatever the requirement of the activity, I will share you very soon. Thank you. Have a great day.